Good day, and welcome to the Center for Research Libraries presentation, Introduction to CRL Collections and Services. The Center for Research Libraries is a consortium of university, college, and independent research libraries of all sizes. The community includes academic libraries at major research universities, such as Harvard and Yale, and at four-year colleges such as Carleton and Oberlin. CRL also includes independent non-academic institutions such as the New York Public Library and the Newberry Library. Most CRL institutions are located in the United States, but we have a large representation from Canada, as well as the University of Hong Kong. CRL holds a shared collection of 5 million books, journals, and archives, collected over 6 decades, which include primary source materials from all over the world, the equivalent size of a major university library. CRL is also a collection of communities of interest working together to preserve and share information about critical and at-risk source materials in the fields of the humanities, sciences, and social sciences. CRL is located physically in Chicago, Illinois, where we maintain a closed facility containing CRL's 5 million volumes. The upstairs units are climate and temperature controlled to maximize the life of the collection, from which materials can be sent through interlibrary loan or electronic document delivery. This presentation today will cover a variety of subjects related to CRL, including a collection overview, how to discover CRL resources, how to borrow the material, CRL's digital services, our outreach services and collaborative resource development programs, how to maximize your membership in CRL, as well as other collaborations and strategic programs of the Center. CRL collections. CRL's collections can be broken into several subject areas of collection strengths, and we'll cover them here in summary fashion and can provide more information on request. The first subject area we'll cover are newspapers. CRL maintains one of the largest circulating collections of newspapers in the United States. We possess both U.S. general circulation newspapers as well as foreign newspapers. We have cataloged over 16,000 titles in our catalog, and I will take you to CRL's catalog here to demonstrate ways that you can access these materials. On the right-hand side, if you click on the catalog search options, you'll see a tab at the top of the page specifically for our newspaper collection, from which you can search by title or keywords, or you're able to browse by particular country, or in the case of the United States, a U.S. state. All of CRL's newspaper collections are cataloged and can be accessed through CRL's online catalog as well as through OCLC's WorldCat database. CRL maintains more than 8,000 foreign newspapers and currently subscribes to or engages in original microfilming of ongoing foreign newspaper titles. We also have demand purchase of newspaper backfiles, which we'll talk more about later. CRL also maintains subscriptions to general circulation U.S. newspapers and maintains a large collection of backfiles as well. CRL's journal collection is the next section we'll highlight here. CRL maintains more than 6,000 current subscriptions to infrequently held serials from around the world. CRL has designed this component of its collection to complement CRL members' own subscription policies. Therefore, we collect materials that are not commonly held in an undergraduate or even graduate research library. As such, the material tends to be weighted towards foreign periodicals, foreign language periodicals in the sciences and social sciences, as well as our historical backfiles of trade and industry publications. The next section of our collection we'll touch on is the dissertation collection. CRL maintains a historical collection of more than 800,000 foreign doctoral dissertations, that is, dissertations submitted to institutions outside of the United States and Canada. This collection has recently been completely cataloged and is accessible through CRL's online catalog. The coverage of the dissertations spans all date ranges and all subjects, with particular emphasis on European institutions' historical dissertation collections. The collection ranges from 1800 forward. 90% of the works were written from 1900 to the present. CRL also acquires on demand dissertations from institutions and has been working collaboratively on the digitization of dissertation collections, such as with the British Library's Ethos program. Another component of our collection are the foreign documents and archives, both in print and microfilm. The Center's extensive collection of government documents span the 19th and 20th centuries and include both U.S. and foreign government documents. We collect materials in microfilm from archives such as the National Archives and Records, as well as the UK National Archives and other foreign government archives. We also maintain archives of non-governmental materials as well. CRL's extensive collection of state documents includes substantial files of legislative journals, administrative and financial reports of major and minor state agencies, statistical publications, and reports of the legislature. CRL's collections of U.S. state documents extend through 1950. CRL's microform sets complement the government documents and archives and can be discovered through CRL's online catalog. How you can find more information about CRL's collections is simple. We've already shown you the CRL catalog, and on CRL's website, we would like to highlight a couple of areas for you to take a look at. If we go back to the main page, you'll see the Collections tab at the top of the website, and we'll just go briefly to CRL's digital collections. Here on this page is an aggregation of a variety of different collections of CRL's materials that have been digitized or for your use. The main access to all of CRL's digital materials is through the CRL online catalog. In addition, we hold collections of interest to particular scholars, such as what is seen here, the African newspapers, which is part of the World Newspaper Archive, a partnership between CRL member libraries and Redex, a division of Newsbank. Some of this material is available for an additional fee, though the majority of the material listed here is available to all CRL members through our website. You'll see also listed here American periodicals from the Center for Research Libraries, Brazilian government documents, the Digital South Asia Library, and the Law Library Microform Consortium collection. I encourage you to visit this site for more information. Another part of our website that highlights CRL's collections are CRL's topic guides, also in the Collections tab. Here you can see topical listings of CRL's subject strengths, both of our cataloged materials as well as some of our uncatalogued collections. We have been recently upgrading the topic guides to include additional information about collecting challenges and emerging digital resources. For example, I'll just click on Medieval Studies here, a recent updated topic guide, where you can see an overview of the types of materials collected, as well as strengths of CRL's own collection. From here, you can click on particular subject areas such as church archives to discover more resources within CRL's collection related to these particular topics. Now that we've given a very brief overview of CRL's collections and how to discover them, we will now proceed to discuss how to access that material through interlibrary loan or document delivery.
Hi, I am Kevin Wilkes of the Access Services Department, and I'm going to talk with you about how to borrow, how we deliver one of our best programs, I think, at the Center for Research Libraries, which is our demand purchase program, how to access our digital collection, and how you can load our records into your catalog. You may send us requests through OCLC Iliad. Our symbol is CRL, and we ask you to enter us in administering first and put us in about 2 times, and that way we can make certain that you're getting your money's worth out of us. You can also send us a request through our fax at 773-955-9732, as well as the Postal Service hard copy through the mail, like an ALA IRL form, or through our general email account at asd@crl.edu. Many of our members are involved with consortiums that facilitate resource sharing. We have joined many of these consortiums, such as Article Reach, Rapid, Prospective, Ohio Link, Connect New York, and soon, hopefully, Borrow Direct. We're always willing to explore the possibility of joining other consortiums which will benefit our members' use of the center and its material. We have a very generous loan period for our members of 3 months with unlimited renewals. The only time you'll hear from us is when I'm trying to recall for another member institution. All of our loans are shipped UPS, second-day delivery. For those in Ohio, we use the Ohio Link Courier system. And for those in Illinois, we use the Carly system. It is our desire to assist our members in any way we possibly can. For copies, we use Odyssey. We can also send aerial, and our aerial is always on send only because we are always sending out, we never receive. We can also send you a fax or an email PDF attachment or through the U.S. mail system. We're able to turn around and or respond to most requests within 24 hours. Possible delays could be a citation problem or just that the material is not on the shelf. 90% of our field loans and articles have a 1 business day turnaround time. Now I'm going to talk to you about one of the best programs I think here at the Center for Research Libraries, which is our demand purchase program. It covers 3 areas: archival material, newspapers, and foreign doctoral dissertations. The demand purchase process is initiated by you sending us an IOL request, and the way we can expedite that request is by you putting in your borrowing notes, "Please purchase." There is a $2,000 limit per patron. That does not mean per institution. That means each person within your institution could get $2,000 in the demand purchase program. And for more costly material or material that does not fit into any of these 3 categories, you may want to utilize one of our other purchase programs, and Mary Wilkie, she'll be talking about that in a little while. For archival material, it covers material like the U.S. National Archives or Great Britain Public Record Office material, but it no longer is limited to just archives of the national government. For in 2000, we expanded this program to include the archives of semi-government organizations and institutions. For newspapers, it's foreign and domestic, of which we already own one date. So what does that mean? It means that, for instance, if you are looking for 1965 of the New York Times, but all we own is July 1st, 1962 of that title, we would do our best to attempt to purchase the 1965 New York Times for you. For foreign doctoral dissertations, these are dissertations which are outside of the United States and Canada. And once again, to expedite the request, we ask you to put on in the borrowing notes, "If not owned, please purchase." Now, there are many institutions that are requiring a signed copyright declaration form. And some of them are requesting their own form, and they will want the original signed copy, such as Cambridge, Hong Kong, Manchester, and Oxford. If you do not have a copy of any TDF, please contact us and we'll do our best to get you one right away. Many of the British Library dissertations are now accessible through their Ethos program. If there is a cost for the initial scanning of a dissertation through Ethos, we ask you to send us that request. Once we have it, we will pay for the initial scanning and then inform you when the scans are available. CRL has contributed to the scanning of dissertations provided by Ethos, and I strongly suggest that you take full advantage of the demand purchase program. Now, for digital delivery, we are filling more and more of our requests digitally. Our goal is to provide research and teaching material in a digital format, making the access of the material more efficient and expedient. Each year, we have committed to digitizing over 600,000 pages, and each year we pledge to raise the bar. There are 2 ways for which we go about selecting material for digitization. One is digital delivery, which is generated through an IOL request. The other is strategic or planned scanning. Approximately 75% of our digital selection stems from IOL requests. The remaining portion comes from planned scanning. As you can see, our e-resource collection includes everything from dissertations to government documents. We have made available electronically materials such as early medical studies from the 19th century, as well as public health documentation in colonial territories and colonial government reports. Our current turnaround time for digital delivery is 5 business days. When an IOL request is sent to the center, we have the material paged. It's then reviewed to see if it meets the criteria for digitization. We check the material's fragility and content. We will scan not only hard copy, but also micro format as well. This includes microcards. Once it's been decided that the material is eligible for digitizing, the requesting library is informed that we will attempt to fill the request digitally. The material is then given a file name and delivery date. It is then sent for scanning and receives OCR and saved as a PDF file on a server. A link is also placed on our OPAC for any future use. The requesting library is then informed by email with the URL. We update the WorldCat record, keeping our holdings current. With our strategic digitization or plan scanning, as we call it, we attempt to identify material which supports undergraduate instruction in specific research projects. We have identified such titles as The Drum, Civilian Conservation Core Papers, and theses by many notable scientists. Our e-resource collection can be accessed many ways from our website. When the material is under copyright, the patron is taken to this screen. Once the server has verified the IP address as a valid member institution and the patron has agreed to the copyright agreement, the scans will appear. If the patron is off campus, they must have proxy through their institution. Now I'm going to speak with you quickly about record loading. This is a totally free program for our members. It enhances the visibility of the collection so that more of your patrons will be requesting CRL material and providing you more use of your CRL membership. It increases the accuracy of requests, especially those patron-initiated requests. We have had universities such as Harvard and the University of Florida who have shown improvement of their fill rate by using our record loading program, as well as consortiums such as Ohio Lincoln Prospective. We have over 1.3 million records in our catalog. So therefore, you don't have to download all of them, but you might want to do portions of our catalog, such as just the newspapers or the dissertations or possibly the digital collection. But once again, this is totally free to our members. If you go to our website and click on the FAQs, and then scroll down to the end of the page, you can find more information about record loading. Now, if you possibly have a scholar who is visiting Chicago and they want to come in to take a look at some of our material, our reading room is accessible Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, by appointment only. We ask you to contact us at least 3 business days in advance so that we can make certain that the material is here, since it does circulate to our members. Now, if the person is here in Chicago and they just stop on by, we would do our best to work with them. If you have any problems, questions, or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me or my assistant, Michelle Carver. And I'm now turning this over to Mary Wilkie.
Hi. As Member Liaison and Outreach Services Director, I work with patrons from our member libraries. And my work falls into the 3 categories that you see here. A reference consultation can occur when I am contacted by a librarian, a professor, or a student to help them with a question or problem. In this example, I was contacted by a professor who is interested in German colonialism, and as a result, I was able to identify materials in our collection, including items in our uncatalogued collection that might be of interest to her. I also work with professors who want to incorporate the use of primary source material into their courses. In this example, a professor was teaching a historical methods class for undergraduates every semester. She used the Six-Day War as the pivotal event to teach how historians study a subject. Until that point, she only was using the Jerusalem Post and the New York Times. I made her aware of 2 English-language newspapers from Islamic countries for which CRL had coverage. You can read more about this example as she won this year's Primary Source Award for teaching. Don Dyer will talk more about the awards later. I also work with identifying which pieces need to be requested, or as in the case for this set, acquired. While CRL holds a lot of missionary materials, we were weak in our holdings for missionary work in Korea during the 20th century. However, I was aware that a module had been recently released and covering just this topic and time period. The student who was working on her dissertation working with me helped identify which pieces from this new set that we could acquire through the demand purchase program that Kevin mentioned earlier. This segues nicely into our collections program. On the green navigation bar near the top of our website, if you hover over collections, then from the drop-down menu, you would then select collection building. Then from the menu on the left-hand side of the screen, select cooperative resource development. You will be taken to a page where you will see links to the various programs that I oversee. The Demand Purchase Program, the Purchase Proposal Program, the Shared Purchase Program, and the Scholars Access. Additionally, we have started offering electronic resources for those members who wish to participate in the individual offers. On this screen, you'll see some recent examples of items that were purchased through the Purchase Proposal Program. This program usually deals with more expensive sets. Nominations for this program are open. They will remain open through September 30th. And I have sent information about the program, including the username password, to key individuals at our member institutions. If you're unsure who this person is or haven't received it, do ask me after the webinar about this. Our program relies on our members. You are the ones that identify the important primary source materials. You're the ones that nominate it, and you're the ones that will vote on the ballot that goes out this fall. The Shared Purchase Program for 2011 resulted in all 5 items being purchased from the ballot. This program takes place in the spring of every year, and usually all the items are things that were not acquired through the Purchase Proposal Program in the fall. However, occasionally new items are nominated for that. It's really a buying club. The nominating library kicks in some money, CRL kicks in some money, and then the ballot is open to the entire membership, and those who can pledge funds toward the purchase do so. I'm often asked, does this mean that the items bought this way can only be borrowed by those who pledged money? And the answer is no. They're open to the entire membership for use. As a result of member interest, CRL has started to offer electronic resources for purchase or license for products that they may not have access through their local consortium. These are the ones that we offered this last spring, and the uptake on them continue to be very strong. Nominations for future ones can be done through the purchase proposal nomination form. For any electronic resource offer, CRL will also write an overview of the resource. We call this a review, and Virginia Kerr will talk more about that later. The last aspect of my work that I want to cover is working with members on various projects, such as the Undergraduate Research Work Group or IRWIC for short. This group is made up of representatives from various CRL libraries, and it works together to identify subjects of broad interest, especially of interest to undergraduates. Materials in these subjects could be digitized for use in classroom or research. Topics that we've handled have included the ones you see on the screen. And our most recent one was a collaboration with Oberlin College with material from their Sela G. Wright Digital Collection. The most important thing for you to take away from my part of this webinar is that CRL really wants to work with you. If you have a question, a suggestion, or thought, share it with us. Don Dyer will now continue to talk about member benefits.
Thank you, Mary. As you can see on the screen, it's got a list of our basic member benefits. I just want, most of these things have been covered during the course of the webinar, but I do want to emphasize a couple of them with examples. For example, the cost avoidance bullet point. The example here is a mid-sized West Coast school that actually realized several thousand in savings by canceling their back file subscriptions to 3 international newspapers, since their researchers can rely on CRL for those newspapers, and they also get them in 3 days. The second example I want is the third day ILL delivery. Kevin covered this earlier, but we always like to emphasize it. The example here is a very large East Coast university with extensive holdings that it's actually one of our biggest customers, despite the size of their holdings. And the main reason is because their faculty have discovered they get hard copy materials from us in 3 days, when it takes much longer to get those same materials from a remote library just 25 or 30 miles away from their campus. So sometimes you have to think outside of the box in order to realize the value of these benefits. Now we're going to go to the website and have a look at under the membership menu at making the most of your membership with CRL. And the first thing that we want to look at is the CRL Connect. This is a no-nonsense listserv that we send out every couple of weeks. We send it out when we have enough news to fill it, basically. It's every 2 or 3 weeks. And we highly recommend that librarians and faculty sign up for this. It keeps you up to date on CRL announcements and initiatives. The kinds of things that you will see in the CRL Connect are invitations and reminders about CRL webinars. We have 3 different kinds of webinars. The one today is our introduction webinar, and it's we convene these mostly for orienting newly enrolled members, but they're also good for universities that have newly hired librarians or newly hired faculty that they would like to get them up to speed. And it's also good for refresher courses for folks who know about CRL and been dealing with CRL for 25, 30 years, but maybe don't know about the program we just launched 2 years ago. The third kind of webinar we have is subject specific, and that's just as it sounds. CRL convenes a webinar just to focus on subjects like, as you can see on the website there, August 24th, we have a webinar on Middle East and Islamic resources. And the vast majority of our webinars we schedule on the second Wednesday of the month at 2 o'clock, but because we also schedule them at other times. So it's nice to have received that CRL Connect to keep you updated on that. Another thing that you get from CRL Connect is a link to the focus on Global Resources newsletter. This is a quarterly, and it functions a bit like a topic guide. It guides you into CRL collections and shows you highlights of CRL collections, and each of the issues have a different subject. For example, we've had issues that focus on women's studies. We've had issues on immigration, South Asia, Latin America, religion. So again, this is another thing that you learn through the CRL Connect. Third one is the Global Resources Networks, the doings of the GRN forums, conferences, and initiatives. Virginia will actually cover that here in a few minutes, but it's a fairly new program that supports the expansion of access to international scholarly resources. And as Mary mentioned in her presentation, the cooperative acquisition and collection development activities at CRL are also included in the CRL Connect. So we highly recommend that you have your folks sign up for this. So now we will go to publicity tools. Thank you. And CRL has a number of publicity tools that we freely send to you all. We have a glossy brochure that's we're actually updating it right now, and it'll be ready for new versions of it. Will be ready for distribution soon. But all you need to do is just call and ask, and new members, we automatically send them a stash of these brochures. They're great for handing out at faculty orientations or through departmental mailboxes. They're very attractive and very informative. We also have a flyer that we send to you in PDF form that can be reproduced on your copy or photocopy machine, and affordable enough that you could put one of these into the hand of everybody that walks into the library if you want. It's just gives a real bare bones summary of CRL and our collections and our member benefits. We also have, as Mary mentioned earlier, resource consultations. We have web consultations. You can sit down or get on the phone and talk with one of our web librarians, and we'll look through your website and find ways where we can emphasize CRL usage, and it just contributes to making the most out of your membership. Kevin spoke earlier about visiting CRL, and again, all we need is a few days advance of that, and it's can be a very informative and very memorable experience. Most people walk away very happy from a CRL tour. Another item that's here if you go all the way to the bottom, is the contact information system. This is a fairly new system we have. It's online. It's a database that allows us to collect contact information for interlibrary loan, the collection folks, and other administrators and key players at the libraries, and it just facilitates communication between CRL. This same section also shows you how to go through the renewal process every year, and in the month of December every year. By December 31st each year, we expect new members, if they are not new members, but any member that wishes to discontinue their membership, they need to notify us by December 31st, and this is a place where you can do it. It also allows you to, if you are renewing, allows you to provide the expenditure figures that we need every year to calculate the annual cost share for your membership. The final item that I'll touch on is the primary source awards, and I think we need to go back to the PowerPoint presentation. But the primary source awards is a program that recognizes librarians, researchers, teachers, students, and other users in the CRL community for their innovative use of primary source materials. It's the recognition comes in three categories: access, research, and teachings. The awards allow us to share these innovative strategies and methods that we learn from folks who've been nominated, to share that with the rest of the CRL community, which is, and they're almost always very interesting projects and methods that are developed and are highlighted in this program. There are prizes. The awardees receive, besides the recognition they receive through CRL Media, and there's a presentation during CRL's annual meeting in April. Besides that, though, they also get a gift certificate for Powell's books. The nominators, those people who nominate the eventual awardees, all receive an iPad. The nominations are accepted online through January 31st, that's annually, and self-nominations are welcome. Everything you need to know about the awards program, including eligibility, awards criteria, and the timeline for the selection process, so on, is all contained on our website. You can see the URL there at the bottom of the page. So, are there any questions? If not, I'm going to turn it over to Virginia Kerr. Virginia.
Thanks, Don. I'm going to talk about collaboration for collection development. This is collaboration in specialized areas, relying on the subject expertise at CRL member institutions, has long been an important CRL activity. Collaboration occurs among affinity groups interested in particular world regions, including the cooperative conversion projects focused on Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East, and among the Global Resources Network language affinity groups, such as GNARP for German language materials. Don't ask me to remember what GNARP stands for, but it's German language, or CIFNAL for French language materials. While the identification and dissemination of endangered research materials by these groups had previously concentrated on preservation through microforms, increasingly initiatives are dedicated to digitizing materials. The World Newspaper Archive is an example of a collaborative initiative among area studies interest groups, digitizing microfilm holdings of historical regional newspapers at various CRL libraries, and distributing the resulting database through a partnership with Redex, a division of Newsbank. Charter subscribers paid for the digitization, while substantial discounted pricing is available to all CRL libraries for the modules currently available on Latin America, Colonial Africa, and South Asia. And there are currently over 3 million pages of content available from these various regions, all cross-searchable on the Newsbank platform. CRL began a partnership last year with LLMC, the Law Library Microform Consortium, pursuing common goals of preserving endangered research materials and recognizing the growing importance of historical law reference material in social sciences and even humanities research. The database LLMC Digital, with searchable legal documents from the U.S. and jurisdictions abroad, is currently available to all CRL libraries on a trial basis. And during the coming year, an equitable cost-sharing option will be proposed. CRL is selecting additional digitization of content with the guidance of a steering committee. Now we're going to go to the web and look at another aspect of collaboration. Both Mary and Don have referenced this. The Global Resources Forum, which is an umbrella term we're using to describe resources and activities which are building on a tradition of collaboration and consultation using member expertise. We launched this new area of our website this year to bring together reference to the various activities and resources that we are actively aggregating together to support informed local collection investment decisions at CRL libraries. Within the forum sort of umbrella, we're offering reference to the various specialized subject webinars, which Don had mentioned. From these subject webinars, we're generating new topic guides to our collections, which address not only highlights of our collections, but the challenges in general of collecting in these areas in the current digital environment. So we're listing the webinars. The webinars themselves generate topic guides, which are referenced from this page in various subject areas. We also reference from this webpage profiles of digital repositories and aggregators based on our own experiences in digital certification. So here you'll find profiles of Portico, and there's also a profile of Hati Trust, a profile of UMI Dissertation Publishing. And a very important aspect of the Global Resources Forum resources are reviews of various specialized research databases, particularly those which Mary mentioned are being offered through CRL. Discount licensing terms are being offered through CRL. These reviews are meant to be ongoing, to build up content. We create the reviews as we offer the licensed material, often during a pre-release period for the resource. We are actively inviting comments, assessment from members at CRL institutions who are partaking in the various trial access periods for the resources. And we expect to keep the reviews continuing with ongoing comments. We would like to have descriptions of use cases and other aspects built on the initial documentation. Also, in the Global Resources Forum, we offer reference to resources developed by CRL for tools and resources for analyzing collections to apply to print and digital archiving initiatives. In sum, the collaborative digitization initiatives and the resources brought together under the Global Resources Forum umbrella are key elements in CRL's strategic objectives, which recognize the critical importance in the current economic and technical environment of enabling the CRL community's accelerating transition from print to digital. At this point, I'd like to turn this back over to Gwen Einat as we invite questions and discussions on this introduction to our collections and services.
Thanks, Virginia. One of the advantages of having an abbreviated session today is that we have more time for questions and answers. So if there's anything that our presenters touched on that you'd like some more information about, save yourself an email and just type it in the online chat right now, or you can also press *6 to unmute your phone and ask a question. We did already receive a question asking for more clarification on the electronic licensing service, so I'm going to turn it back over to Mary.
Hi. Our electronic licensing offers, and most of them have been for purchase and not subscription, really came out of us listening to our members saying there's a real need for us to step in and help them. We started hearing from our member libraries that their local consortium, why they did electronic licensing, they might be the only library or institution in their consortium that wanted a particular product, like Making of the Modern World or Sabin Americana. And we repeatedly began hearing from our members the need, asking, can't CRL do something? And that's what we did. We stepped in a couple of years ago and tested the waters because we wanted to make sure this was something the majority of our members wanted us to do. We want to start offering, we have started offering electronic offers for things that complement or supplement our strengths. So this will be like the Times of India author that was done last fall for their electronic newspaper, the digital holdings of their archived issues. The Foreign Office files for India, Pakistan, and I forgot what the rest of the title is another example. CRL's always been very strong in national archives, and this material offers the files from the what used to be called Public Record Office, but now is known as the National Archives in Great Britain, in a digital format. Last year, part 1 was offered. This fall, we expect the second part of the module to come out, and we will be offering that too. So not only do we identify things that we know complement or supplement our own strengths, we listen to what you are suggesting and nominating. So we ask you to place nominations in the purchase proposal nomination form for any items that you might be interested in having CRL arrange a consortium offer. Most of the things that we do are for purchase. Only those members that are interested in this participate in it, but through it we often get the steepest discount possible. We have some other questions that Kevin would like to answer concerning interlibrary loan.
I have a question from someone who's asking about borrowing from CRL, and I think that's from a non-member institution. And I would suggest that you contact Don Dyer about membership if you are not a member. If you are already a member, borrowing is very easy. All you need to do is just send us an ILL request using an OCLC ILL form through your ILIAD system or WorldCat, or just by sending us a request through fax or email, and we will start getting you on board right away. We do ask for, of course, your shipping address and all of the pertinent information that's needed to make sure that you get whatever you need. Please remember that as a member institution, you are able to borrow any of our material, whether it's hard copy or micro format, as well as much of our material as you like. So, say for instance, you wanted 10 years worth of a daily newspaper, which will probably cover about 240 reels. We are more than happy to send that to you if you wish. I am now going to turn it back over to Mary to talk about archive material.
Contemporary tribal records, like newspapers of recent vintage for U.S. tribes that are officially recognized by the American government. This is why we do subscribe to a number of U.S. ethnic newspapers. I'm not sure if any of them are from tribal newspapers. So in that case, we are not. But this is something that if you'd care to email me more about, we could examine for the future. There's another question about electronic licensing. At this time, we are not purchasing the things that we offer for access to our entire membership. Quite frankly, if we did that, that would eliminate our entire collection budget, and probably still not gain us access for all our 250 plus members. We are acting as a go-between to get you a better rate. I do know that in some cases the rates that we've offered, because of the numbers we've reached, they've been better than those prices offered by other consortiums. So we had last year a couple asking, can I switch from this to that? And we worked with the vendor to be able to do that. We do have catalog collections still, but these collections have been...
Repeat the question, because I don't know.
I'm being told to repeat the question. How large is our uncatalogued portion of the collections, and what plans are there for cataloging any backlogs? In 2000 or 2001, CRL composed a task force that was actually headed by Ross Atkinson to review our uncatalogued collection. It's a very small part, but it still can be, it's still there, not all of it. And they prioritized things. One of the thing that received the highest priority was our dissertation collection, which until then was uncatalogued and was about 800,000. That was our first and highest priority, and we did complete cataloging of all the dissertations that we had. And any new ones coming in the door, we catalog them. We're then working down the list that was prioritized by this task force. In some cases, it's been determined that a finding aid would be sufficient and not cataloging of each piece in the collection. Then we have another question now, who do we contact for technical support when something doesn't work in the CRL catalog? Kevin will answer that.
If there's something that's not working in our digital collection when you're trying to access it, I suggest that you contact the Access Services Department at asd@crl.edu or 773-955-4545. Access that department, and we will then work with you to get you access to that digital collection. Many times it's just that we may not have a recent IP address of yours, or it could be possible that the patron is trying to access the material off campus, which means that they must have proxy through your institution. But we will do our best to help you out by just contacting us.
Virginia's going to answer another question regarding digital resources.
There's a question of whether CRL members are allowed to link to digitized resources from within course management systems such as Blackboard. As far as we know, and you can contact Kevin if you have problems and he'll refer it, as far as we're concerned, those are those are resources you can point to from LibGuides or course management systems. We do with our direct scanning for patrons, we do scan a number of materials which have copyright restrictions, and Kevin already talked about the IP restricted access to those. So of course you would not be downloading or further distributing those things, and they would fall under the same restrictions that any patron would have in terms of accessing them.
I wanted to say we've got a question on is there a process for adding or donating to print holdings? I am the contact, Mary Wilkie. At the end of this webinar, you'll see my email. I am the contact for donations, because we actually have two types, the regular donations and then our JSTOR donations. And I'll make sure that the offer goes to the appropriate people. I also wanted to say that for the uncatalogued collection, if we send something out the door, we catalog it. If you've got questions on any of the uncatalogued collections, contact me. In my role as Member Services Director, I'm that one. I'm the one to contact.
We have another IL question about if something has been received and then you find out that your patron would rather have a digital copy, what should you do? Well, if you will give us a call and let us know that the patron is wanting a digital version of that, and if it falls within the realms of our digital requirements, we will go ahead and digitize the material once it's returned back to us, and then send the institution the URL for that patron. That usually takes about 5 business days to scan most material. We then also have another question asking about the $2,000 limit, that if you have 5 institutions, five members, 5 patrons, such as 5 faculty members who are wanting something that costs $10,000, what's the best thing to do? Mary has a good answer for that.
Okay. Each of the demand purchase areas, the archives, the newspaper, and the doctoral dissertations, are separately funded each at the beginning of each year. We fulfill requests on a first-come, first-served basis. So if I get a request for something where there's 5 faculty members wanting something that costs 10 grand at the beginning of the year, I am going to say, no, we can't do that. However, if it's May, and since our fiscal year ends June 30th, and I can clearly see there would be an abundance of money left over, I might approve that. Because it's first come, first serve, we have to control the stream somehow. To be honest, I've never had a request where 5 teamed up. We have had requests where 2 faculty members have worked on something and needed something, and it's been over 2 grand, but less than 3 grand. Again, depending on the time of the year, the time of the year greatly affect how much money's left in there. What is then?
We have another question. If a faculty member wants to get
okay.
course helper.
If a faculty member from a CRL member institution wanted to use CRL Digital or other materials for a course, how much lead time will be needed for setup? Well, this, again, you'd contact me. I often work with people. I've been contacted the day after a course started and faxed 7 pages of things they wanted to digitize to use in that semester. We couldn't do all 7 pages for his time frame, but we worked out something where we were able to do as much as possible. Keep in mind that we are having several streams flow into our digital production, not only on demand, but this plan scanning. We'd like as much time as possible, but we realize few professors actually decide about courses greater than a year out. So we'd hope it's sooner than the day after the class begins. Some examples of quasi-governmental archives for which we've collected from demand purchases would be the charity minutes from a London hospital. Is the example that pops into my mind. We've also bought on film, this was a film collection of historical photographs from some library in the Middle East. So they were historical photographs of the Middle East. It was a specific library. It was a collection. We looked at it as their archival collection. Those are examples. Any other questions? I cannot urge you enough to, if you've got a thought, if you've got a question, to contact me, or if it's ILL, Kevin, because we want to hear from you. We want to work with you. We will do our best to work with you.
Thanks, Mary and Kevin and all of our presenters and all of our attendees. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We do always say that we really want you to make the most out of your CRL membership. So contacting these staff members is a great way to do that, as is attending these webinars. We also have some upcoming webinars. Sorry, we're going to go back to the slide. Thank you. So we have some subject-based webinars, like Dawn mentioned, coming up. And, just in a few weeks, we have one on Middle East and Islam resources with James Simon. In September, we're going to be talking about print and digital archiving. I know we got some questions about that, so we hope to see you at that session as well. Our twice a year we have kind of an overall, it's similar to this session actually, an overall view of the CRL collections and services. We do it in, I think we'll be doing it in June this year, in October. So our October session, again, if there are people who couldn't make today's session, or if you have other staff you think would be valuable, make sure that they sign up for the October session, and all of these events will be listed on our website.
I've got there's a question from one person who wanted to know their contact. I will send you that information after the webinar. Well, I also wanted to say to Hawaii, I'm glad you could make it with the time difference.
Right. Yeah, all our new members and all our members, again, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your feedback, so please just take a few moments after we wrap up today to fill out our follow-up survey and SurveyMonkey. As we mentioned, the presentation will be posted on the events page on our website and also on our YouTube channel. And actually, there are a lot of presentations, archived presentations now on our YouTube channel, so it'd be a good idea to scroll around there a little bit. Always visit our website. As Don mentioned, sign up for CRL Connect, and you can also find us on Facebook. So again, thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful afternoon.